just arriving on the mat now, by which we mean bringing the awareness to the body. If it was a bubble, we're shrinking that bubble inwards now. Scanning from head to toe, head to sole of the foot. Perhaps there are areas that feel a little tired, or areas of tension within the body. Or perhaps we feel particularly charged. Ready to move, ready to breathe. And then shifting the awareness to the breath, the body of breath, pranamaya. Taking deep inhalation in through the nose, expanding the tummy, expanding the rib cage. And then as we exhale, just being sure to push out that last little bit of breath, making sure we empty everything out. A little bit of constriction in the tummy, in the abdominal region, just to push it out. We often forget to do that to finish our exhalation. So deep cycles of balanced breathing, samavritti. One more shift for the awareness here, bringing it to the mind and the movement of thought and feeling across the heart, across the mind, and just taking that step back and returning to the state as a quiet observer. So don't look for an answer or a conclusion to those thoughts, don't be led astray. Just remind yourself to focus your awareness to the body, to the breath, and to quietly observe that movement. Nice deep inhalation here. And then with the outward breath, releasing the hands down by the side. If the eyes are closed, we'll flicker them open. And as we inhale, reach wide and high. Deep breath here. Let the head drop back slightly. Exhalation forward, fold over the legs. A slight bend in the knees to start with. Just bring the head in towards the shins. As we inhale, peak up slightly, begin to straighten the legs. Introduce a little bit of a stretch to the hamstrings. And as we exhale, think about bringing the abdomen and the thighs closer together with slightly straighter legs. Inhalation, halfway lift. Lengthen through the spine, look forwards. Imagine someone pulling a rope that's attached to the crown of the head. We want to create space between the vertebrae, stretch the spine out, push the tailbone out behind. And as we exhale, fold again. And then start to soften slightly. So take that stretch out of the hamstrings, cradle the elbows, let the head, the neck be loose, unclench the jaw, a little sway side to side, or forwards and backwards. Again, slowly beginning to straighten the legs up. Maybe if you are swaying side to side, change that action to a heel-toe kind of movement where we're playing with that sensation of stretch in the back of the calves, the back of the hamstrings. Remember the breath. And as we come back to stillness, releasing the hands to the ground, allow a bend in the knees, step back to the high plank, Phalakasana. Or lower knees, chest, chin or forehead, Chaturanga Dandasana. Roll the shoulders back, but mostly using the lower back here, barely using the hands as we look forward. Bhujangasana, this is an inward breath. Exhalation, release the head down towards the earth. Inhalation, pull the shoulders back again, broaden the chest. Inhale, lift. A little higher. Outward breath back down. Inhale, a big push with the hands to help us rise. Bhujangasana. Exhale back down. Get ready to tuck the toes for Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. We'll wave through the body, upward facing dog. Really push the earth away. Make sure we're not slouching into the shoulders, really. Ask those arms to lengthen as well. Let the hips be heavy, lift the chin. Then beginning to round off the spine, tuck the tailbone and the chin in, rock the weight back across Padmanasana, but slide the hands 6 to 8 inches. Then come forwards again when the wrists are below the shoulders, Madhyasana. Inhalation, Vittalasana, drop the spine, lift the crown of the head up and out through the tailbone. Exhale, round off. And inhale, drop the spine. Just a couple of cycles here. Through the breath. And between Vittalasana and Madhyasana. Always an outward breath. Whenever we fold the body forwards or whenever we twist, a supine twist. And always an inward breath. Whenever the limbs move away from the body, whenever we want to broaden the chest, or whenever we bend backwards. Coming back to stillness. Let's tuck the toes, lift the knees, shift the weight back and up. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Have a little walk on the spot here, just to remind the hamstrings, the legs, knees, hips to wake up a little bit. And when we talk about that walk on the spot, we're bending one knee at a time and tipping the bottom from side to side. Let's take our walk towards the front of the mat. We'll arrive together, halfway lift. Flatten the back. And as we exhale, fold over the legs. Inhalation, rising, uncoiling slowly, steadily. Chin is last to lift, arms move wide and high. Let the head drop back slightly if the neck allows. Exhalation, release the hands. Uttanasana. Bring abdomen and chest closer to the knees, the thighs. Pull in. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly begin to rise again and uncoil. Imagine stacking the vertebra one on top of the other. Shoulders roll back, chin lifts, arms go wide and high. This time as we exhale, ground the palms, step back to the high plank. And then take your chaturanga, slow and steady with control. Elbows almost completely tucked in. It's like a negative press up, wave through the body. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Remember to lift the chin and Adho Mukha Svanasana. Up and back with the tailbone. Stepping that right leg underneath the body towards the front of the mat for a low lunge. Anjaneyasana. Drop the left knee, untuck the toes. Choose to stay down on the fingertips. If you do, sink the pelvis, the groin downwards and forwards and roll the shoulders back. Lift the heart space or rise with me. Reach towards the sky. For 5, leaning into that front leg, but reaching the arms high. For 4, remember the breath. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Rise slightly on the inward breath. On the outward breath, release the hands, frame the foot, rock back for a half split here. Ardha Hanumanasana, straighten the leg and spine. Don't sit back, remember. Keep that left hip above the left knee for stability. Exhale, fold over the leg if it's available. Remember, this would be a time where you might use blocks to support the weight, or you might work from the outside, slowly, steadily towards that front leg. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Look forward, shift the weight forwards, tuck the toe, lift the knee, step back to the high plank. We'll lower Chaturanga Dandasana, wave through the body, Urdhva, and Adho Mukha Svanasana. Make sure you arrive there, push up and out through the tailbone, find length through the spine. Exhale, step left foot under the body towards the front. Drop the right knee, untuck the toes. Inhalation, rise and reach, or stay low, but lengthen the spine. Take your bind if it's available. Head drops back is an option. For 5. Remember the breath. For 4. For 3. For 2. And for 1. Inhale, lengthen slightly. Exhale, Ardha Hanumanasana, the half Hanuman. Rock the weight back, straighten the leg and spine. Then fold on the outward breath. For 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Shifting the weight forwards again. Frame the foot, tuck the toes, lift the knees. Step back, high plank to low plank, Chaturanga. Urdhva, wave through the body. And Adho Mukha Svanasana. Get ready to step or bounce forwards to wide feet, a squat at the front of the mat. When you arrive, ease yourself down slowly, steadily, not too deep too soon. Little rock side to side helps to facilitate that. Support the weight on the fingertips, on the palms, and as and when it feels available, if it does, elbows find that little dimple on the inside of the knee, just above the knee there. Hands towards heart center. Just soften the pelvis here, sink into it, but keep the spine tall. Inhalation, we lengthen, rise up very slightly. Exhalation, ground the palms, lean forward slightly. Shoulders have to be in front of the wrist. To counter the weight, we kick the legs back, Chaturanga, and then wave through the body. Urdhva and Adho Mukha Svanasana. Push up and out through the tailbone here. We want slight waves through the spine with the breath here. So as we inhale, just ease off slightly. As we exhale, push up and out through the tailbone. Allow that stretching of the hamstrings as you do so. And stepping the right leg underneath the body, warrior 1, Virabhadra. 45 degrees on that rear foot. Reach and rise a little higher than you need to on the inward breath. Then as you exhale, sink down into your position. Remember, we're heart facing forwards here. Pull that left hip forwards. Sink into the front leg. Don't let that rear foot collapse. You want to be flat footed on the back foot where it's available. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rise a touch, inward breath. Exhale, release and frame the foot. Step back. High plank, low plank. Upward face. Urdhva and Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's head to Virabhadra on the left side. Step under. And sweep the arms up. Then sink down. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rise slightly. Exhale, release the hands. Frame the foot. Step back, high plank. And low plank, Chaturanga. Urdhva. And Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's hop, step or jump towards the front now. Halfway lift together. Flatten the back. And pull in for a fold here. We can take a bind around the ankles, elbows push wide. Remember, abdomen and thighs. Don't worry too much about the head. That's not our main focus. Really push up and out through the tailbone. For 3. Deepening on the exhalation for 2. And for 1. We'll rock and roll back to rock forwards to chaturanga here. If you're not sure, take a peek this way. Let the tailbone lead the action. And as I rock onto the back, I'll round the spine and tuck the chin, cross the feet, then rock forward for a seated position. You've done it lots of times. I'm just complicating it by talking about it. So we drop the tailbone, we rock back, cross the feet, ground the palms, and then take out chaturanga. Good. It's like a nice little massage of the back. Let's wave forwards and upwards here. Urdhva and Adho Mukha Svanasana. Step the right foot under the body, Virabhadrasana on the right side. Remember 45-degree that foot, rise a touch, then sink down. 4, 3, 2, and on 1. Rise slightly, turn to 10 o'clock. We release the hands, search for the bind. Remember to tuck the chin first. Then as you roll the shoulders back, open the heart, sink into that position. Turn towards your 11 o'clock and take a bow on the exhalation. Crown of the head towards the earth. If the shoulders feel a little bit tense, don't force it. But if this feels very available here, there's extra. We can come onto the ball of the foot. Just let that right knee drop out very slightly, but not too much to weaken the stability of that front ankle. For 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Bringing the hands back to the tailbone first before we release. Then releasing left hand towards the earth. Line it up with the right foot, ball of the rear foot. Sweep the right arm to the sky. Parivritta Ashwasanchalanasana. Remember to let the groin sink a little bit here and activate that rear leg. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release right hand to the inside of the right foot for lizard. Uttam Prishtasana. Heel toe that right foot out towards the outside a little bit. Then lengthen through the spine, look forwards. There's an inward breath. On the outward, we can sink. Stay if you wish, or take the arms long and take a bow. Be kind to the groin and the flexor on the left leg here. So upper front of the left thigh. If it's painful, don't force it. 4, 3. Deep cycles of breath here. 4, 2. And for 1. Those of us bowing down, returning, slide those hands back, line them up with the right foot, hands step back all together, high plank, and lower chaturanga dandasana. Urdhva and Adho Mukha Svanasana. Have a little walk on the spot here. Let's release that tension that we've just built in the lower back, in the hips, the calves. And as we come back to stillness, stepping left foot forwards this time. Warrior 1 on the left side. Rise a little higher than we need to. And sink down. 3, 4, 2, and for 1. Rising slightly, turn to 2 o'clock, release the hands, begin to tuck the chin, take the bind, interlace the fingers, roll the shoulders back, open the heart, sink, and then fold. Same as before, there's an option to come onto the ball of the foot here. Or the rear foot, that is. Might be tricky to come onto the ball of the front foot. 4, 3. 4, 2. And on 1, bringing the hands back towards the tailbone, then releasing the bind. Right arm towards the earth, left arm sweeps to the sky, Parivritta Ashwasanchalanasana, and really push the earth away with that right arm, that right hand. For 5, 4, activate the rear leg, remember. 3, 2, nice and tense in the quads, and 1. Reach a little higher, then exhale, release. Left hand inside the left foot, heel toe out towards the outside. Then sink in the groin, but lengthening the spine. Breath rolls up the front of the spine here. Lift the heart. Uttan Prishtasana. For 3, for 2. And on 1, if it's available, taking that bow, long arms here on the fingertips, or maybe forearms might feel slightly more comfortable and a little less challenging. Or stay up in your lizard here. If on the other hand, even this feels a little too intense, there's always an option to drop that rear knee, take the strain out of the rear leg. All together, those of us bowing down, bringing those hands back, lining up with that. We've got 3 heels at the front then, haven't we? The 2 hands and the left foot. Then we'll step back, high plank. Let's lower the hips first. So slide the weight forwards, ground the knees, then the hips, release the toes, lift the chin. Slowly wave the body down. And find a pillow for the head here. With the hands, Makarasana. For the crocodile, we want to just rock slightly side to side with the pelvis, sink into the mud. And then let the body be heavy and loose for a moment. Notice the sensation of the heart beating against the ground. Deep cycles of breath. For 3 more cycles of breath here. And for 1 last deep cycle through inhalation and exhalation. On the next inward breath, lifting the feet, long active legs, long arms as well, lifting the hands out in front, Virmanasana, the Superman, for 5, 4, 3, 2, and on 1. Keep the feet up, arms head out to the back, Shalabhasana. Try not to talk when you're in this one. For 3, for 2, and on 1. Hands beneath the shoulders, tuck the toes. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Wave through the body. And Adho Mukha Svanasana. Right leg steps forwards. Virabhadrasana, warrior 2 on the right. Drop that rear heel to 90. Windmill the arm up and around. Rise a little higher than we need to, then sink down. Remember, this time we're pulling the left shoulder back, left hip back. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and on 1, we lean forwards, turn the front palm up. We're searching with the left hand for the upper inner right thigh, or perhaps that right hip, and we want to pull the left shoulder back as we do so. Remember, we're reaching up, straightening that front leg very slightly as we reach back. A nice stretch down the right side, opening the heart to the left, but sinking on the outward breath into the front leg. For 5. Head back to the warrior 2. Rise and reach with the arms, sink down. Then with the next inhalation for Trikonasana, the triangle, straighten the breath and the leg and rise, then reach forwards as we go down into our triangle position. So if this feels a little tricky, you might use a block here to lean on. You might hover the hand and narrow the stance slightly. but make sure you pull that left shoulder back, open the heart to the side. Perhaps you'll lean on the shin or the thigh, but never on the knee. Really push the ball of the foot, the big toe on the right foot into the ground. Make sure the ankle doesn't collapse there. We'll inhale and reach. A little higher with that left hand. Then draw it down towards the left hip. Hand out towards the earth. Right hand switches sides. And we adjust the rear foot to 45 as we rise. Parshvottanasana, the pyramid. Keep that front leg straight if it's available as we fold over it. And remember, we're not locking the knee here. There's a micro bend. If it feels too intense, just narrow the stance, support yourself on blocks. Rising slightly with the inward breath, sliding the hands back towards that front foot, twist and turn onto the ball of the rear foot, pushing into the arms, long arms, bring the leg underneath the body, sweep it to the sky, then let the left heel get heavy as we push towards the rear of the mat. Parallel hips to the earth, Tripada Adho Mukha Svanasana, for 3, for 2, and on 1, a bend in the right leg, heading for fallen triangle on the left side. We bring the right knee under the body, right hand adjusts to the center of the mat, and we kick the right foot out behind as we reach left arm towards the sky. Have a strong rear leg here, rear inside ankle. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale to high plank, left hand on the earth. Phalakasana, lower chaturanga. But don't get comfy, push back up to Phalakasana. Bounce here, so if you're not sure what I mean, lower the hips first and then bring the legs under the body. Halfway lift. Good work. Exhalation, fold, push out through the tailbone. Inhalation, rise to the top slowly, steadily, uncoil. Arms go wide and high, reach up. Push the hips slightly forwards. Exhale, hands to heart center, Samastiti. Really soften everything here. Just keep the spine long and tall. Bring the awareness to the breath. Don't confuse this one with Tadasana, the mountain, where we activate the body and the breath. Here we want to soften. On the next inward breath, reaching the hands straight up, keep those palms connected, gaze towards the sky, head drops back, hips push slightly forward, a soft back bend here. As we exhale, releasing the hands, shifting the weight forwards again, search for the bind behind the tailbone, tuck in chin, shrug the shoulders, then we roll back as we open the heart, lift the chin and hands move away from the tailbone. Choose to stay up. We'll take another deep inward breath. And fold on the exhalation, push out through the tailbone. For 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. The hands come back to the tailbone before the release. Then we sweep at the earth with the hands. Utkatasana, bend the knees for chair. Inhale, rise slightly. Exhale, ground the palms, bounce to your Chaturanga Dandasana. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's step the left leg under the body for Warrior 2. We move the arms up and around, Virabhadrasana. Exhale, sink down into that front leg. For 5, find your alignment, strong inside rear ankle, don't let that blade lift. For 4, for 3. Remember to breathe, we don't have to hold the breath, for 2. And on 1, we reach forwards, search with that right hand, and again we're almost trying to lock around the top of that thigh, pull the shoulder back, open the heart, and then as we start to straighten slightly, we rise, lengthen through the arms, there's an inward breath, exhale, sink into the front leg. Option to gaze towards that extended hand, or perhaps down towards the rear foot. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back to warrior 2. Then for triangle trikonasana, inhale, straighten the leg, reach forwards, exhale, sink down. Left hand towards the earth if it's available, pull the right shoulder back, straighten that front leg. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and on 1, lengthen. Exhale, release the right hand towards that right hip. So we're scooping it down a big half circle. As we line it up with the left foot, left hand shifts around, halfway lift, flatten the back. Parsvottanasana, adjust the rear foot as you fold over that front leg. For 5, for 4, for 3, for 2. And on 1, the hands slide back and line up with that front foot. We come onto the ball of the rear foot, push the earth away, slide the leg towards the sky, and then let the right heel be heavy. Tripada Mukha Svanasana. For 3, 2, and on 1, we bend that left knee, bring it under the body, weight shifts forwards, left hand to the center of the mat, drop onto the sole of that foot, and extend the left leg out towards the side, fallen triangle. Remember, we can have that foot on the ground here as well. Even an option to take it seated. I didn't give you that before, did I? I forgot, sorry. Just holding here for 5 minutes. Inhale, reach. Exhale to your high plank, Phalakasana. Lower the hips first for that bounce, remember. So look, as we lower on the ball of the feet, the weight shifts slightly forward. And then bring the legs under the body. Flatten the back. You've got to be gentle with the lower back on that one, of course. There'll be a disclaimer in the video, don't worry. Exhale, fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, flatten the back, look forwards. Exhale, Utkatasana, bend the knees. Let the knees come forwards in front of the toes. Sweep the arms towards the sky. But as we exhale, release the hands. Chaturanga Dandasana. Urdhva. Adho. And then get ready for crow at the front, or your crow hops. We'll bounce towards it. So if you take a deep breath here. As we exhale, bend the knees on the balls of the feet and float forwards into your crow. Remember, if we're taking crow hops, we're just finding that sweet spot, working weight distribution between the tailbone and the head. If it feels like there's more here, we can maybe bring crown of the head towards the earth and slowly extend for Shasana. But don't force it. Maybe that's one at home in front of the couch or with a load of cushions on the floor. Come on, make sure we're practicing. I'll show you the crow hops for those of us that feel a little lost. We take almost a squat position and we can bring the elbows to the insides of the knees. As we ground the hands, there's that rocking forwards, but we want, it's that trick, isn't it? Remember, I always talk about balancing a stone on a stick. The forearms, the radius and ulnar bones, they're straight, they can't articulate. There's not a joint in the middle. So if we're on the heel of the palm and we stack the knee on the back of the elbow, in theory, this is strong. This will support. but we've got to squeeze the thighs together, the adductors in the legs there. We've got to kind of close around the backs of the elbows initially, almost as if we were closing and tensing the pelvis in now. So we have to activate. That's the first thing that we need to do. Obviously the next, as we squeeze together, is you have to really push actively into the earth. We can't have kind of idle hands because they help us balance those sticks with the fingertips and the heel of the palm, right? So it's a hollow palm, in my opinion, is more suitable. When we push into the backs of the knuckles, it puts a strain that we don't need. So, and it's probably not very safe. So those fingertips help to kind of push us back when we go a little too far. And then obviously this side, we've got the tailbone to help counterbalance us. So there's our crow hops, and we could hop backwards, we could practice moving forwards and backwards in our own time. Forwards a little more tricky. And eventually you want to find that little spot where you're just holding for a moment. That's it. Okay, make sense? Just be careful with the face. Normally a little cushion in front, just in case the arms give, yeah? We want to make sure the arms don't collapse inwards as well. So we have to push out with the elbows to the inside of the knees. That's probably the last most important part of the action as well, is not having this kind of external rotation on the arms so that the elbows actually point inwards. We don't want that. We want a slightly internal rotation on the arms so that the elbows almost point out. So that if they did bend, they would bend this way, out the way. Does that make sense? So that's probably quite I should have told you that at the beginning. That's probably quite an important part of information, because actually as we squash and close the thighs together, there's a counteraction pushing outwards, isn't there, with the elbows? So that's probably part of the trick, part of the magic. But that's not to say we should have a large internal rotation, excessively so. You've got to find, in terms of your proportions, what works for you, right? So who's still in a headstand? People looking around the room. There we go. Let's come down from the headstand back to our crow, and then from the crow. And you notice my crow was a little higher up, wasn't it? I was up on the backs of the arms. Let me try and wiggle my way up there. There we go. That's where I was. So yeah. We'll then all together cross the feet. We're going to rock back into Sarvangasana, the shoulder stand. So we cross the feet. As we go through a seated position, we push into the upper arms and take the legs towards the sky. If this feels like it's not going to be available, let's let the tailbone ground with a long flat back and push feet to the sky, hands down past the hips. Ardha Halasana, the half plow. And when we're in the half plow, make sure we activate. So we're going to work at tensing the quads up here, pulling the kneecaps up, and stretch the backs of the legs. Those of us in the shoulder stand, we're locking the chin in towards the chest here. Nice, sturdy, stable base on the back of the neck, the shoulders, maybe even supporting around the upper rib cage with the hands. Wherever we are, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Those of us in the shoulder stand, slowly lower, head towards the plow, Halasana initially. So legs over the head, hands down past the hips. And then we'll join our neighbours in the half plow. Let the head and the shoulders lift slightly as we rock down across the back, across the spine, then release head and shoulders. We don't want to fight against that natural curvature as we slowly kind of unfold ourselves out of the plow. All together, bending the knees, hugging in towards the abdomen now, lifting nose to knee as we exhale, shrink the body slightly. Little rock side to side. You okay? And then as we come back to back to stillness together, kicking the legs out here, into our Navasana, the boat. So we want to kick out and rise, catch yourself on the tailbones, and find that little sweet spot. For 5. For 4, perhaps a version on the hands or on the forearms if that feels a little bit more appropriate for the body. For 3. For 2. And on 1, a momentary extension of the legs, and then slowly lowering to Ardha Navasana. It's barely the lower back touching, we're just on the sacrum there, connected, grounded. Long arms, long legs. For 5, 4, 3, 4, 3, 2, and the 1. Slowly, gently release. And we just take a moment to bring the soles of the feet together for Supta Baddha Konasana. Tuck the tailbone here, lower back a little closer to the earth, then let the knees drop. Maybe have a little wiggle of the shoulder blades, bring them under the back as well. Or even an option to interlace the fingers, lift the head slightly and bring the hands underneath the back of the head, where there'd be a kind of middle ponytail, that region there. And then we emulate the knees, the legs with the arms there. I'm going to take 5 deep cycles of breath here. Taking one more deep inhalation. And then as we exhale, beginning to close the elbows almost around the face, around the head, bringing them together and lifting the head so that the chin and chest meet. Try to soften the neck here, allow that stretch down the back of the neck. Gently beginning to release the head again. And then releasing the bind of the hands, sweeping the arms nice and wide across the earth, down towards the outside, the underside of the thighs here, and then pushing the elbows into the ground. We want to activate the forearms and the hands as we start to close the legs, but use the arms to do this. Take the strain out of the pelvis as we close. Arms can then move wide and we'll drop the knees side to side. A little windscreen wipe, a little left to right, right to left action. And coming back to stillness, taking any last movements the body might ask for, perhaps a happy baby or another hug of the knees in towards the abdomen, or if the body feels ready, then heading towards Shavasana, a final relaxation. You can have the arms and legs length and width of the mat, or perhaps bringing the hands up onto Anahata, Manipur, the heart and the solar plexus. Just taking a moment to allow the body to be heavy and loose and dissolve into the earth. As always with our short 45-minute practices, we steal time away from our Shavasana, I'm afraid. So taking a deep inward breath, expanding the tummy, expanding the rib cage. And breathing gentle movement into the hands and the feet. Ankles, the wrists. Beginning to stretch through the legs and point the toes, taking the arms over the head. Really reaching out through the entire body. Another deep inward breath here. And then as we exhale, bringing the arms back, mindful of the lower back. We'll hug the knees one by one into the abdomen. Take a little rock from side to side, a little massage of the lower back. And then we can choose to turn softly through one side or rock forwards into our seated position when we're ready. Find length together one last time, gazing skywards, reaching the arms wide and high. Find that prayer position above the head. Begin with breath now. Exhalation, bringing the hands to our center for the Mahamrityunjaya. Aum Triambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushti Vartanam, Uvarukamiva Bandhanan, Mrityor Mukshyamamritat. A bow to peace within. Aum Shanti, Shanti.